Hello everyone and welcome to this video series where we'll learn about how to detect and exploit SQL injection vulnerabilities in web applications. So this video series will consist of 10 parts. Let's see, so we have 10 tasks. So every task is going to be a part. So separate videos will be recorded for every task. And then we have the first task, which is going to just be a brief description about what SQL injection is. So if you've never heard about SQL injection, we just give a brief description here, and then you get a fundamental understanding or basic understanding of what SQL injection stands for. And then we move to the next part or task, which is going to be databases, introduction about databases, how databases work, what databases do, how they store information, how information will be retrieved from databases. And then we go to the next task, which is task 3, which will be our third part of the video. So that one is just going to be dealing with SQL, which is structured query language. So basically we'll learn about this feature-rich language which we use to manipulate data in databases. And then the next task is going to be about the vulnerability itself, which is the SQL injection vulnerability. We'll get a deep dive into what it is and probably do some practical exploitation. And then we go to inbound SQLi. That's inbound SQL injection. So that's another type of SQL injection. I think this is where the lab will start. So start a machine, and then we have the practical demonstration of how to actually exploit these vulnerabilities. And then we go to the next task, which is blind SQLi. So that's another type, which is blind SQLi, but in this case we're going to use that for authentication bypass. So let's say you are given a login form, username and password, and if this particular web application presenting you with the username and password form is vulnerable, we should be able to bypass the authentication page. So we're going to try that out, and then also come to the next type of SQL injection, which is Boolean based. We'll look at that one with examples. And then we also have time-based. So this is another type of SQLi injection. We'll do practical demonstration about how to exploit that as well. And then the last one is out-of-bound SQLi injection attack. So this one you need an advanced knowledge. It's not very common, so you really need an advanced knowledge about the database infrastructure to be able to exploit this vulnerability. So with this one, I think it's just informational, so they give information about how this particular attack works, but we don't have a lab to demonstrate that. If you want to find out, you can do further research on how to exploit out-of-bound SQLi, but in this video series we're not going to cover that. It's kind of advanced, and we can do that in a separate video. And then the last but not the least is remediation. So if you know the problem, you have to find solution to the problem. It's a vulnerability in web application, but how can we protect or prevent our web apps from this kind of attacks, which is very important. We need to safeguard our web application, and we need to put some measures in place to ensure that our systems are not prone to this kind of attacks, because SQLi or SQL injection they are critical vulnerabilities. So if you look at the OWASP top 10, I think they are ranked third in the list. So just behind broken access control and crypto failures, I think injection attacks are the third in the OWASP top 10. So injection attacks, not only SQL injection, we have cross-site scripting, which is also part of the injection attacks, and we also have I think command injection. But what we are focusing on now is SQLi injection. The rest will also be tackled later on. So basically that's what we're going to do in this video series, which is going to be in 10 parts. So every part is going to be a separate video we're going to record. And we are using TryHackMe as our practical lab. We are not setting up our own infrastructure to do this practical. All right, so we have a free room in TryHackMe. So this room is accessible to everybody. Anybody can deploy these machines and have a practical feel about how these vulnerabilities actually exploited. Yeah, so come with me. Let's go into the individual task and try to see how we can exploit these vulnerabilities.